Helmets, one of the oldest and most essential elements of military armor, not only protected soldiers' heads but also held significant symbolism. Imagine, for a moment, the ancient Romans and Greeks, amidst a fierce battle, wearing imposing helmets that not only defended but also spoke of power and distinction. Today, we are going to explore the fascinating world of Roman helmets. From their humble beginnings, made of bone and tusks, to the sophisticated metal helmets with decorative crests that became emblems of leadership on the battlefield. And if you thought helmets were just a protective piece, wait until you discover how crests played a crucial role in warfare and troop morale. If you're interested in learning more about the history of Rome and its tactics, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our stories. Roman helmets were not always what we know today. In their early days, there were no molten metals, so helmets were made from materials like animal bones, leather, and even boar tusks, similar to those worn by the hero Odysseus in Greek mythology. Over time, the Romans began making helmets from molten metal, a major advancement that provided better protection for soldiers. These helmets were much more durable and effective, and they began to be decorated with details such as feathers and crests, which not only served an aesthetic purpose but also served other functions. The transition to metal marked the beginning of an era in which helmets were not just about protection but also about identity and distinction within the Roman army. One of the most emblematic helmets of ancient Rome was the Corinthian helmet. This helmet, made of molten metal, completely covered the soldier's head and neck, with a prominent nasal protector and openings for the eyes. The most interesting thing about these helmets is that they didn't have side openings for the eyes. This was because the Romans fought in compact formations, like the famous phalanx, where it wasn't necessary to look sideways. The infantry formation allowed soldiers to focus on unity and discipline, with vision being limited to the front. Also, to avoid discomfort, the Romans wore a soft cloth hood beneath the helmets. This helped cushion the helmet and ensured that soldiers could move more freely, without pain during long marches or intense battles. The crests, those striking decorations that adorned Roman helmets, were not just an aesthetic detail. In fact, they played a crucial role in Rome's military strategy. The crests were made from materials like exotic feathers and horse manes, and they were used to distinguish commanders from regular soldiers. Roman commanders wore a transverse crest on their helmets, while regular soldiers wore them longitudinally. But the function of these crests went beyond aesthetics. In the chaos of battle, crests allowed soldiers to quickly identify their leaders. This detail was crucial in a disorderly battle, where confusion could reign. The crests helped maintain unity, ensuring soldiers could regroup quickly with their comrades. Moreover, the crests had a psychological impact. The presence of a visible commander, with his prominent crest, inspired the troops and boosted their morale. The enemies, in turn, could see the Roman leaders from afar, which also had an intimidating effect. Although Roman crests were a key symbol of leadership, they were not exclusive to Rome. Other ancient peoples, such as the Greeks and Celts, also used crests on their helmets, but for slightly different purposes. The Greeks, for example, used crests in a similar manner, though their crests often had a religious and ceremonial component. During battles, the crests served as symbols of divinity and strength, tied to their warrior gods. The Celts, on the other hand, not only used decorative crests but also used their helmets to intimidate their enemies. Their helmets, often adorned with large feathers or bright metals, reflected their fierce attitude and helped create an imposing presence on the battlefield. Although the Romans adopted some of these influences, the crests on their helmets had a more practical purpose. While other peoples focused on the visual impact and psychological terror, Rome used them primarily to improve organization, coordination, and identification of their commanders amidst the battle. The crests not only served to identify commanders on the battlefield but also had a great psychological impact. In the chaos of war, where soldiers could easily get lost, the crests helped maintain morale and unity. Imagine being in the middle of a fierce battle, surrounded by noise and confusion. However, in the midst of that chaos, seeing the crest of your commander standing out from the crowd could give you a sense of direction and purpose. The crests helped soldiers stay calm and know exactly where their leader was. On the other hand, the enemy also saw these crests, which not only helped with identification but also had an intimidating effect. Seeing a commander stand out, with their prominent crest, conveyed the sense that Rome was organized and ready to withstand any challenge. This visual symbolism was of great relevance in battle, not only for organizing the troops but also to increase the confidence and courage of the soldiers. In many cases, seeing their commander at the front gave them an extra boost to fight with more determination. Roman helmets and their crests were not just a piece of military equipment, but a symbol of organization, leadership, and power. From Corinthian helmets to impressive crests, every detail was designed not only to protect but to inspire and coordinate the troops in the midst of battle. Through the use of molten metal and the design of distinctive crests, Rome demonstrated its ability to combine functionality with symbolism, creating a military force that remained dominant for centuries. Although decorative, the crests played a crucial role in the morale of the soldiers and the organization of the troops. They allowed for quick identification of leaders and contributed to unity and cohesion in moments of chaos, helping Rome excel on the battlefield. If you've been surprised to learn more about Roman helmets and the impact of the crests in war, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more content about the history of Rome. Thanks for watching the video, see you in the next one.